Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader, with a quick update on Bitcoin. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. Markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. Alright, so let's see where we're at. We got the exact test down here. Took a scalp up to 96 and then took a move again off that same trend line. Everybody was very bearish when we started coming down here with these tests, and I called it out. I said, look, we're going to come back up, we're going to retest, get that BART move back up, the other half of the BART. And look at that, took the scalp again off that white channel trend line, nailed the absolute move up. I told you guys on my last video 9800 was the target. We got to 98, it was like 98.80 or something like that. And then we started showing weakness through this area right here, flagging out. Once again, the whole entire crypto space was talking about how we were going to 15,000 and getting all pumped up, and everybody was getting excited, and it was very clear that we were getting ready to sell right back off. Told you we were taking profits to this area, told you we were taking the sell. If you use the indicators, it was very clear. Once we moved back on top of the TJD TDMACD, once we flipped the slope line over blue and the histogram is on top of it, that tells you the move is good. We get the double buy signal on the Balena Assassina. You get the buy on the 4 hour, you get the buy on the daily. Calls out the move, both of them perfectly. And then you get the red distribution zone throughout the entire top right here. You get the confirmed cross and the exit of the distribution zone, which tells you to take the sell right here. You get the hard sell, which tells you to take the sell as well. And then the dump proceeds directly afterwards. So the indicator is obviously absolutely phenomenal. And then if we go to our actual trend lines for resistance and support, we'll see we've been operating inside this smaller channel right here. The idea was when we touched the bottom of the channel right here that we would get a move back to the heart line or the top of the channel. The idea was here when we consolidated on the heart line that we would get a move back to the top of the channel, which we did. When we held support and showed strength at the top of the channel, we knew that we would get confirmation and continuation. And then when we sold off and put in this candle right here, it was very clear to us when we could no longer get a close above that high that we were showing weakness and we were preparing to sell back off. So that called that out as well. You'll see we hit the long time parabolic trend line here in yellow and got rejected after we were using it as support multiple times and then failed to break back above it. We'll see also inside this channel right here that we have been operating inside of with the white right here and the white right here, and this represents a much longer time frame resistance line that forms the top of our channel. And as you'll see here, this channel that we're operating in has been the perfect trading channel since the end of May. So we've been operating in this perfect channel right here inside this range perfectly. So now here we came down to the bottom of the channel right here, and you know what I did? I went ahead and took a scalp. I'm going to take a scalp to the long side off this area right here and then see how price action responds. If we lose the larger channel right here, I'll expect massive continuation to the downside over time. If we do lose it, I would expect the smaller channel to get respected to some degree, maybe like a little bounce off of that as well as this red trend line, but I wouldn't expect much of it. I mean, we're going to see something off of like that $8,800 range because it's so substantial, but once we lose this larger channel right here, you know, we're essentially operating, other than this little support area right here at 8,800, we're operating inside of a much larger area. And that larger area comes down into like the high 6,000s. It's like 68, 6,900. So it's basically like a no man's zone through here. Now we do have a bunch of fibs like we pointed out in our last video coming into line in different areas. So, you know, we'll definitely see like some stair steps along the way. But that's what we're looking for if we do get continuation to the downside. Now if we get continuation to the upside and we find support off of this channel once again, we could expect a move to come back up, you know, as high as the heart line and the yellow trend line again in the 10,000 range. Once again, I'm not convinced by this move up that we had broken out of the range and everybody was getting very bullish, and then, You know, I called out the dump. We got the dump down here, and now once again everyone is very bearish. And I just don't think it's quite time to get bearish yet, because we haven't actually left the range. So the entire time we've been operating inside this range, I have seen all the technical analysts late to the party on every single move. Every time we got to move up, they were saying how bullish they were after the move already happened. And then every time we got to move down, they were saying how bearish they were after the move already happened. Once again, you know, it's that late to the party, that hindsight TA. You know, they get used to reading the news and then come on here and think that they're reading the news with TA. But really, they're just, you know, essentially all the charts are is it's like telling the story of what already happened. And technical analysis is analyzing what's already happened and essentially like identifying the likelihood or predicting what's going to happen. So a lot of times what happens is people get confused by someone coming on and just saying what already happened, you know, and then acting like they told you what was going to happen. But if you just come on and say the bullish and the bearish scenario, you know, every single day and talk for 45 minutes, and then you're afraid to give any kind of actual opinion or predictions or anything like that, you're just a newscaster for technical analysis. You come on, you read the charts out what already happened, but you're not actually an analyst. An analyst and a trader uses the information from the charts, analyzes it, and then predicts likelihoods and probabilities so that they can make high likelihood, you know, high risk reward trades and be successful in the market. And that's where like your coin flip comes in, because essentially the coin flip is up or down. The idea being that if you can gain an advantage on that coin flip using technical analysis, you know, you can have a better than 50% chance to win that bet. So you're not always going to be right. You're not always going to be wrong, but you have to take chances, or you're not a trader. You're not an analyst. You're basically just a technical news reader. You know what I mean? You're a hindsight TA guy. But anyway, so here we have it. We got the move. You guys, the indicators are free. If you go on here at the 4-hour too, you'll see all we're doing right now is finding support on the histogram, on the slope line, trying to save it. And if we don't save this, if we don't find support, we're going to break down below it. We're going to turn this red, flip the slope back over, and then we're going to get continuation to the downside. If we do find support right here and get the bounce, we're going to come back up and probably at least retest this 94.50 range, potentially all the way back up here into like the $10,000 range. But we have to see how price action plays off on that. But once again, you'll see this corresponds as well with the cross of the longer time frame moving averages. You're going to get the blue come down here, and it's going to start to touch the orange and the white, and that's where it tends to find like support and get the move back to the upside. So that's what we're paying attention to right now. We also have obviously our horizontal supports and fibs coming in, corresponding to all this price action as well. So, and then we can flip over to a little bit longer of the time frame, and this is where everything gets a little messy. Longer time frames, it's the same exact thing that we were talking about. I'm going to pull on the moving averages here. This is what we were talking about. When the shorter time frame moving average, the red moving average, gets ready to cross over the yellow, you see this powerful move up here, and it saves it, and it keeps the red from going under the yellow, and we bounce off of it, basically find support and get continuation. Well, that was starting to happen right here, and then we actually got the confirmed cross, and that's why I was saying we're going to come down here to these moving averages, and then we're going to get a reaction move. We need to pay attention to what that is. So that's why I called out this move to the upside before it happened, and then I called this move to the downside before it happened, because essentially what that is, that's like the fight between the market to stop these moving averages from crossing over. But the cross happens to the downside. They fight it, push it back to upside, and then it fails, so they push it back to the downside. So the cross actually happens up and down, but in all reality, like, the struggle is happening in the meantime. You know, they're fighting for it all through this area. So that's why you have to like pay attention to what's really going on inside price action, and not just look at like one thing and say, okay, we got the moving average cross, the trend is, you know, to the downside here, and then you get crushed by this move, and then you say, okay, the trend's back to upside, and then you get crushed by that move. You have to be able to look at these things and tell what it means and what's happening, not just say, okay, this guy says when this happens, it's good. He said there's a likely 50% move. He said we're going to the upside 200% whenever we get a golden cross. No, it doesn't work like that, man. All these things are lagging indicators, and hindsight things. You have to look at, there's very few like actual predictive things, and typically the ones that people try to use, like trying to create all these ones saying like, oh, the reverse Stoch cross indicator and the probability of the probability index of going above this range and that range. Pay attention to these probabilities they give you, and pay attention to the same person trying to give you, crypto clown predictions every day, and you could literally watch every day. He's wrong. It's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, so look, so we get this pushback down here to our green moving average on the daily, and we're trying to save it. We're trying to catch this and save it. We're going to attempt to come back up here, and we're going to attempt to stop that cross from happening like 94.50. So that's the decision point once again, is if we can't get back above 94.50 this time, then we start selling back off. Then is when we're going to get finally our move back down here to 8,800 range, and then we're going to start looking at these 200 moving averages like 85.40, 82.50, and that's when we start seeing all these longer time frame ones, and they're perfectly like stepped out in these little like stair steps. We've got one at 92, the next one at 89, then the next one at 85.50. So they're just a few $100s apart. So we're expecting basically the price to just oscillate between these moving averages, but essentially to be stair stepping down. So it'll move down one, then back up, then down, then back up. And that's essentially what we're saying about this moving average cross. When we got the confirmed cross right here to the upside, the red above the yellow, it almost crossed back down, and then we get a long move up here. And then it almost crossed back down, and we get a nice move up here. And then we get the cross down, and then this one is the one we would expect to get the actual continuation on. So it's like two fake crosses down, and then the real one. Right here we get the cross up, and then fake cross down, and then we get the big move up. So that's what I'm expecting, is like the two attempts and then the big move. The two attempts and then the big move. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm telling you guys ahead of time what I'm doing. I'm taking a scalp off this range. I am still predominantly short from way back up in this range over here. Like I told everybody way back when. You can go back and watch my old videos. I'm very open about my positions and what I'm doing. I'm a very active trader. I'm not the type of person who tells you I don't trade on the weekends. I don't trade on odd days of the month. I don't trade on days that I stream. I don't trade on days that the temperature is above 80 degrees. No, I'm a trader. I don't have a regular job. Okay, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't rely on you guys for my income. I'm an actual trader. So when I tell you these trades and I tell you my predictions and these moves and everything ahead of time, and you notice I'm right all the time, that should reflect on how good I am as an analyst and a trader, and then that should help you to identify. When you get people all the time that try to complicate things, if they can't tell you up or down or sideways, one of like two or three simple things, why would you trust someone like that to tell you about like options or complicated trading strategies or sell you a course? Like if this person can't even get on and show you like a high probability, successful trade, or the actual likelihood without using some little fake formula that someone else wrote for them to use on stream, like don't buy into all these fancy gimmicks. Like stop buying snake oil. That's all I have to say for you guys. Learn the right way. Take your time. If you get on and try to find some cheat code to the video game, it's not going to be fun. Play it the right way, learn it the right way, and you're going to have a lot more fun and a lot more success in these markets. I'm Crypto Trend Trader. Get on the gravy train. We're right every day, and I'm out of here.